Hi everybody, you're back in Stephanie's Kitchen. I am going to make some meatloaf today. And I'm going to make this meatloaf for Jerry because she asked me to make some meatloaf. So I'm going to show her how I do what I do, okay? I'm going to show you the ingredients. I will leave the link of the ingredients at the bottom of this video. And I would like to thank everyone because the last time I looked, I had 92 subscribers. And that's pretty good. And I appreciate everyone subscribing. Please keep on subscribing. Please keep watching. And please keep sharing. I appreciate that. That's one of the first things I got to say to you guys, because without you, I can't even be here. So I appreciate everything you guys do. All right. Now I'm going to give you I want to get into this. So I'm going to show you the ingredients I'm going to be using. I am going to use some diced tomatoes. And I got 2 cans of diced tomatoes here, different varieties. I need some olive oil. This olive oil has roasted garlic in it, which is fine. I have some parsley and garlic. I have a little bit of sage I'm going to use in there. I have some black pepper. And I have some no salt seasoning, and I have some thyme. I got some thyme, ground thyme. I got some Worcestershire sauce. I have some onion powder. I have some ketchup, and I'm going to use the rest of this bottle. I have some seasoning, some salt, some sea salt, and I have some chopped garlic, and I have a little bit of sage. And I have some bay leaves. Now these aren't dried, but I got the fresh ones. But you can use the dry ones. I've done this before with dry ones. I have some breadcrumbs. I have 2 eggs. I got 2 eggs in here. They'll be cracked. I have some milk. And I have some onions. And I have peppers, all chopped up, both of them. And there's a little thyme, fresh thyme in here. And, of course, I'm making meatloaf, so I have to have some meatloaf mix. This meatloaf has ground beef, it has veal, and it has pork, veal, and ground beef. That's what I'm making. This is about 2-pound pack, and I'm going to make a small one today. So let me get started. First thing, I'm going to turn my heat on a little bit, let that get a little warm. And then the next thing I'm going to do is take these breadcrumbs, this is 3 slices of bread. Another thing that I have to put in this, I'm going to put it inside the milk. This is just white bread. It's going to go inside the milk. It's just going to go in there to sit and get soaky. So it's going to be in the milk. It's going to be soaking up. I'm going to let that all soak. Now, I'm going with the olive oil. I'm going to put a little olive oil in my pan. Not too much, just a little, just enough to cover the bottom. Not a big deal. Just put enough in there. And you see that's covering the bottom. That's all we need to do. Let that get a little hotter. Okay. Then I'm going to put in my my onions. So onions, you're going in. Onions are going in. Onions in. And I'm going to put some garlic in. And I'm going to saute this. There we go. It's going to get sauteed here for a few minutes. Now you can see that the onions are on the translucent side. They're on the translucent side, so that's exactly how we wanna do this. Now I'm going to add in the peppers. Off they go. Peppers and the thyme is in here together. We're going to let them saute also. Okay, I sauteed the whole thing maybe altogether about 5 minutes. So now that I've sauteed everything for like 5 minutes, which is the peppers, the onions, the garlic in the oil, and a little bit of ground thyme, you know, I constantly stirred it, you know, to make sure nothing burns. And you just keep stirring it on over medium heat until it all gets done. Now, the next thing I'm putting in is 2 cans of diced tomatoes. You can use fresh tomatoes if you have them, but you know, if you don't have them, then you use some diced tomatoes. So I put in 2 cans of diced tomatoes. Most of the juice is off these tomatoes. And then again, we saute. Now you can use whatever tomatoes you want to use, but I use some diced tomatoes with the fire roasted, and then a little bit of green chili, medium amount, so it's not too hot. So I use that can, and I also use a can that has some garlic or olive oil in it. So, because I like those flavors, and I think it really makes the dish come out correct, for me anyway. So, here we go. Now, that's in, and here's our favorite. That would be a little bit of ketchup. You got to put the rest of this in, the whole jar of ketchup in here. So I'm going to throw that in here now. Took the cap off and we just going for it. Ketchup. The whole thing. And we need to put a bay leaf in. I put a couple of bay leaves in. I'll put 2 bay leaves in. Throw these bay leaves in here. I'm going to put a little Worcestershire sauce in it. Put that in. Here we go. Got Worcestershire sauce, all good. So, I'm going to let this just sit right in here right now. The next thing we're doing, I'm taking a bowl. And again, this is just about 2 pounds of meat altogether. Stick that in here. Okay, Here we go. I'm going to add some garlic and parsley into this bowl. Going to give it some more seasoning. I'm going to add some no salt seasoning. Stick that in there. I am going to add some onion powder in here. Take some onion powder in here. I am going to add a little bit of ground thyme in here. Ground thyme is a really, really nice spice to use on your meat. So I'm going to use a little of this ground thyme in here. And I'm also going to use a little bit of sage. Just a little bit of sage. Just a pop. Get a little pop in here. And those are the seasonings I'm going to use. Now, I am going to add 2 eggs, one at a time. I'm going to add a little pepper, just a little bit. And I'm going to add just a little bit of sea salt, just a tiny bit. I don't want it too salty at all. So put a drop in here, that's it. Not add too much salt. Now I'm gonna add my mixture of I'm gonna add my breadcrumb mixture that I bread and milk mixture, and I'll put my hand in it. Got my hand in here. This has to get to a consistency that will hold the meatloaf together. So you have to put your hand in it and feel it and see what's going on. So that's why I got my hand in here, so I can tell what I'm doing. Tell how this thing's going to come out. So my 2 eggs are in here, and it's not holding together yet. And with that, I'm going to put some of this relish mixture in here. Now this thing is really, really hot. I got to be careful because it's still hot, but it's okay. Put some of it in here because that goes inside. I'm going to take that right out. That goes right inside of the meatloaf. It's part of the meatloaf. Now, again, my hands are. But I'm going to do this real careful because it's hot. So I got to be careful. And in fact, in this instance, I'm going to use this till it cools off. There we go. There we go. It's still a little loose for me. So I'm going to add some dry breadcrumbs that I have here, and that will tighten it up. So that's what you really have to do. You have to loosen it, get it all loose. Then you just add a little bit of the dry breadcrumb. Put some dry breadcrumbs in there. Yep, here we go. Yeah. You see how it's getting together? Like it looks like almost like a hamburger. Not hamburger, but it's pulling itself together. Not quite a hamburger, but it's tightening up. You can tell that it's getting tight. So, which is exactly what I want out of this meatloaf. Perfect. Now you can see it looks like a big meatball. That's a good word for it. Looks like a big meatball, and I got it. Perfect. That's what you want it to look like. Now, I am going to bring my pan over, and I'm going to put it, I'm going to shape it inside my pan. There we go. Looks like a big meatball. Okay. I'm going to shape it in my pan. There we go. So it's going in the oven for on a 350 oven, preheated, for an hour and a half, and I'll check it in by that time to see if it's done. And I'll be back when it's done. See you, people. Hi, everybody. You're back in my kitchen. I finished my meatloaf, and my meatloaf it took about an hour and a half to do. I made sure it was 170 degrees and it was fine. Took an hour and a half just like it's supposed to. And so now I let it sit for a half hour. You know, you can't just cut it because it's too hot. But I let it sit for a half an hour and I cut a piece. And you guys can take a look at this. Can you take a look at the meatloaf? And I got the relish that goes with it. So I'm going to give it a taste. I have a little relish on here. Excellent. Excellent meatloaf. Please, everybody, please make sure that you try this recipe. And I thank you again, everybody, for sticking with me, subscribing, and watching, and giving me a thumbs up. Keep on giving me a thumbs up, please. And please keep on subscribing and sharing. And I thank you all, everyone. Have a good night and out.